Hey, Dan.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the City Council pre-council meeting on Monday, May 16th, 2022, here at 5:30. Proceedings will be overseen by our mayor, Robert Odekirk.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
I am here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon. I did receive notice she's running a few minutes late. There are no presentations this evening, so the first item on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Kathy Garthis.
Good evening, everybody. All my town council members, you know me. I live on Nevada Road, which now I don't even know what road it is anymore, if it's Hollywood Express or what, I don't know. But on this thing, on the agenda item here, vacation, a portion of Schweitzer Road, west of, I know my mask. Nobody can hear me anyway. This vacation of the portion of Schweitzer Road I see here is west of the Union Pacific Railroad Yard. I mean, you're gonna be taking away my ways of getting out to Laraway Road and away from me, just like years back, it took vacated Patterson Road all the way out to Brandon Road for us. And forced us to go use Laraway Road. I mean, why are you gonna keep letting Centerpoint get away with this stuff? Taking roads away from us, and then you guys are gonna try to force me to take that Hobo Bridge, which I don't wanna use. And other things about Centerpoint here, I try to express with you guys, city council people, about how Centerpoint has not been coming through on their things. Like on this extension of Better Road, we were supposed to have our own access road going out to Schweitzer Road, and they decided not to do that. And, you know, we're not happy about it, you know? When this bridge does open, how do you expect us to get out? I've been asking that question, I keep asking. You know, you guys gotta just face up to Centerpoint and start getting tough with them. When they put this intermodal in, they said the trucks were supposed to go out to I-55 and then take that out to I-80. That's why there was a $70 million, you know, redone of Arsenal Road and I-55 interchange. It was just for it. And that didn't happen. You know, we did have the interchange done, but the trucks, of course, are not using it. So you guys just need to get tough on Centerpoint. And when I was at the meeting about getting a Hobo Ridge, the Hobo extension, getting the roads names changed out there, changing my name our road, Better Road, into this Hollywood, whatever you want to call it, thing. I was at that meeting over there at the Joliet Junior College. I had contacted Betty afterward, explained to her that these people, the Centerpoint people that were there, and the Hobo Bridge people that were there, who I think are brothers, and you know, those two are brothers, the Spezias, whatever, I think they're brothers, Chris and John, they did not value me. They thought I was a nobody, even though they know I live on Better Road. They didn't want, I was unable to vote. They're counting me as nobody. I stand before you guys. Am I somebody? If I'm somebody, you learn to start treating me like somebody. And stop making my life a living hell. Centerpoint don't value me, well then you guys gotta just stand up to them and say, look, you don't value people living out there. We don't value you guys either. Don't vote for it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? If so, you can approach the podium.
Name and address, please, for the record.
Sure.
My name's Janine Mosier, and my address is 2409 Red Oak Court, Plainfield. I came here tonight, I wanted to address the agenda item 27522, the proposal to bring a gas station and car wash and convenience store. And I have some concerns with that. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna read I'm talking on behalf of my community members. I have a petition here from several community members, if I can bring it to you when I'm done. I'd be happy to. First of all, my property line sits right along the proposed area. After giving much thought and consideration to this matter, I'd like to say that I do not support this decision because I feel construction so close to residential area is detriment to public health, safety, morals, comfort, and the general welfare of our community. I would ask you all to think long and hard about whether you yourselves would feel safe and secure, knowing that this huge development was practically sitting in your backyard. I have 2 children to think about, and I'm highly concerned for their well-being. First of all, this proposed construction operates 24/7, 365 days a year, which means constant noise pollution due to nonstop traffic causing our once quiet community to change drastically. It's also proposed that it's a diesel gas station, which will draw in many trucks, increasing the noise. In addition, the establishment will incur excessive light pollution at night, which disrupts the natural patterns of wildlife, contributes to the increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and quite frankly, disrupts human sleep. Thirdly, the establishment would cause a traffic nightmare. Their proposed location sits right across from Plainfield South parking lot. So just so we're clear, that means that students would have to make a left-hand turn across traffic when exiting to go to school. Also, since this would be a diesel gas station, this would obviously attract a lot of truck traffic. As it stands, trucks would make a left-hand turn onto Caton Farm from Ridge and have to turn left again across traffic to head into the gas station, which is right across the street from Plainfield South parking lot. This would become very dangerous not only for local traffic, but also for our young, inexperienced drivers. It's an accident literally waiting to happen. Furthermore, there are also significant health risks involved, including potential ground pollution from spills. The issue of soil contamination has long been an issue in areas near petrol stations. In fact, prudent buyers will ask for soil contamination tests before buying property. Another prevalent risk associated with gas stations are environmental hazards such as fires and explosions. And insurance companies will consider the proximity of highly flammable liquids an added risk, which would translate to higher premiums for your residents. Last, but probably the most important, our home will be downwind of dangerous gas fumes. The emission of toxic gas fumes poses a risk to public health, particularly those of us living right next door. According to studies, residential housing should be at least 300 feet from a gas station. And as they've already stated, we are about 175 feet from the gas station. In addition, researchers from Columbia and Johns Hopkins Universities found that vent pipes located at gas stations emit 10 times the amount of benzene, a known carcinogen, than initially thought. A recent analysis published in the American Journal of Epidemiology found an elevated risk of childhood leukemia among children living near gas stations. Can you guarantee that this would be a safe distance from our homes? I don't think so, not according to what they're proposing. To conclude, I would really like to remind each of you that there are 7 gas stations within a 5-mile radius of this proposed location. Do we really need another one? My family moved into this community 10 years ago, and we have made this our home. Please don't make us uproot our family because we have to choose safety over convenience. With that said, I ask you to put your community homeowners' health, safety, and well-being above potential revenue and vote no to the proposed construction 27522. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
I'm just waiting for the PowerPoints to come up with some pictures. Megan Cooper, Joliet. As you see on the screen before you, this is about the proposed cannabis cultivation facility at 400 Manhattan Road. To the left is a 2020 aerial view that was given by the Will County GIS. On the right is a 2022 aerial that was provided in the actual packet by the Alessio Group. And it shows the development on parcels where they actually did grading, fill, and actually knocked down trees, erected a fence, all without a permit. Next picture, please. So I hit the right one? Okay. So as you see on this picture, you see where Route 52 is on here, and you also see Alessio Drive. In these pictures, this is also from the aerial view. Down at the bottom, it shows where the creek is. It also shows where they have been, where it's dump material. Look like it's old construction material. There is also places where there are oil containers on this property where oil has actually seeped into the ground, and it has actually pretty much polluted that area. So, and also it shows exactly what lot was also filled, and it also shows a compromised drainage system where the drainage no longer actually comes and drains the water from off of Route 52 into Sugar Creek. And it's a lot of stale water and stagnant water there because it's no longer properly draining. Get into this. This right here is the Fema Map. And it shows that this area actually lies within a floodplain and also what you would call a waterway as well. This is heavily federally regulated. In order to do any work within these areas, which we do believe that work was done in this area, you would have to contact the Army Corps of Engineers. You will also have to contact the IEPA, and also you also have to contact the IDNR, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. And in order to do any work within these areas, you actually have to submit a plan in order to get the proper permits in order to do any type of development. So one big thing is that Alessio Drive is not actually Alessio Drive. The city has been pointing the finger at the Alessio family saying that it's a private drive. However, it's not a private drive, nor does the city actually own it. It's actually owned by EJ&E Railroad, which in 2013 became swallowed up by Wisconsin Central. And Wisconsin Central is actually a subsidiary of Canadian National. It's not actually even a road, it's a railroad right-of-way. This land is landlocked, technically. Right here, you see a picture where it says, if you look closely, it says dump with the arrow. That's within a very close proximity to that creek right there. This picture was actually taken on March 12th. This picture was actually within, I would say, the last 48 hours, where you can see fresh tire marks right here. They actually dumped more material over where it says dump. And this is actually where you guys have to stop work order in place. They're not ironing it. Thank you. And also, I would like to speak right before it goes into table.
Thank you.
You know, Mayor, I have a question for staff. Jim, when I asked you about this, when we put out the stop work order, and with all this construction on that R2 residential property, you said we could not enforce it. Could you explain that again, please, why we cannot do that?
Well, I can, if you don't mind, Councilwoman, I'll jump in for Jim. Right now, there's nothing currently on our ordinances that allow us. We have some options, but there's nothing in our ordinances that have any real teeth to it. So we have to defer to the court system in order to enforce this. We are currently working, because of this, we've become aware of this, so we're working on putting something together so that we, with the legal department, to put some ordinance together so that these will have some teeth going forward.
Yeah, but it still doesn't answer my question, because
There's no ordinance on the book.
So you can park any kind of construction, like a backhoe and everything, and leave it parked there? You don't have to have an R2 zone property?
You're supposed to,
Can't
but
enforce that?
that's the problem. You're supposed to have the zoning, but our enforcement consists mainly of, we're gonna write you up and take you to court if you don't do it. That's our enforcement mechanism, and I find it totally inadequate. So that's why we're in the process of redoing that.
But So we didn't have a right to do a stop and desist order, which is what
We
went
can
on?
do that, but we have no enforcement. If they don't do it,
Which they didn't do. They
right?
just snubbed their nose
That's
at
what I
us.
keep trying, right, exactly. So exactly.
So everything we asked them to do, they just snubbed their nose at us.
That is basically correct, yes.
And this dumping and everything is just left to the wind.
Yes, the other option for us is to go into court.
I did go out there today, and these pictures don't even do it justice. You really have to go out there and take a look at it. And when you see the before and after with just 2 years, it was like, no respect was given to any environment, no one, residential people living around there. It was just like literally and figuratively bulldozing. And it just made me sick to see what was done over there. And I did see oil seepage coming up from the ground that was filled in. And it's really pretty a dangerous place. We'd have to probably get hazmat out there, I don't know. Something has to be done. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So,
I hope everybody gets a chance to go out there and take a look at it because it's just a mess. Just a mess.
I actually have myself just a few days prior, and I can confirm everything that Councilwoman Goldman has said already. The oil seepage, the fill, I've seen it all myself.
Couple of questions, Mayor. Yes. You know, Jim, and this would be prior to your time, but we've got a lot of people. If you have, hardworking mothers and fathers that drive semis, park their semi there for a weekend, they get ticketed, they get fined. We've had people with fence issues, we've had people with grass cutting issues. On the residents, we don't hesitate to ticket and take them to court. Have we ticketed this owner and taken him to court yet?
it's on private property. So we gave them the cease and desist orders on
So was a
private
semi in one of my constituents' driveways.
But this isn't a semi. They are able to park. They do have the permit to park the equipment there, so that's not the issue. The issue is the work that they've been doing. That's the crux of the matter. There's
Well, no, the
nothing
issue, for me, the issue is too, if it's R2 zoned, our ordinance allows for them to treat it as industrial?
It's not R2 zoned. The part that they have their stuff parked on is, my understanding, is industrial, and it's a dumping.
Go ahead, Kristen. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Can you have somebody check into that and get back to us?
Absolutely,
Let's
thank
make
you.
sure what the
Yes,
zoning is.
sure.
Jim Torrey, don't you already know that? It's R2 right there? That's what you told me.
Yeah, it has split zoning. So the back half of that property has the R2 zoning. They should not be parking industrial equipment on there. You know, that was part of the violations that we called them out on about a year ago.
A year ago. So this has been ongoing for a year. So which comes to my next question. We talked about it before, about a month or so ago. I asked about this. Nobody knew anything about it. But yet there was a meeting out there and we knew about it in the fall. But no one told the council. I'm just baffled by this whole thing.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone, do not go out there. You're going on private property. I just want to make it clear.
Oh, I meant the council. You're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To
Nope,
clarify.
I'm not-
Thanks for clarifying.
And I agree
You're right.
with, there's a lot of issues there, but I just want to encourage everybody not to start going out there. That's private property. So.
Go ahead. Yes, Betty.
Road to go there through there with the Alessios. So can you explain to me how that is happening without a permit from, I believe she said Canadian National was the final holder of that. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, if Canadian National wants to enforce their rights against the Alessios, they certainly can. That's not, we don't have a standing or interest in that particular right away. That's up between the two private entities.
Well, if they don't know about it, how can one do that?
I don't know.
Do we need to report it to Canadian National? I've seen all the videos that are out there. It is egregious the way they have taken that property and changed the whole trajectory of it.
I
and for us not to have an ordinance or something that will hold them accountable is just, behooving to me.
Again, Councilwoman, we're working on an ordinance right now to put some teeth into the various violations here. This has been a glaring hole. This has been evidently absent from well before any of you were elected on the council. So as we move forward here, we found this deficiency, and we're gonna do the right thing, and we're gonna correct it. That's what we're gonna do. That's what's gonna happen here.
Well, let's get on that because it is something that is needed right away.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item? If not, the city manager will discuss the remainder of the items.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 251-22, award a contract for the Black Road Lift Station Modifications Project to William Brothers Construction in the amount of $2,090,000. Agenda item 252-22, award a contract for the roofing envelope rehabilitation of the Joliet Slammer Stadium, located at Mayor Art Schultz Drive to Adler Roofing in the amount of $152,850. Agenda item 253-22, award a contract for the roofing envelope replacement at the Bicentennial Park located at 201 Jefferson Street to seal tight exteriors in the amount of $122,750. Agenda item 254-22, award a contract for the 2022 pavement marking contract to Superior Road Striping in the amount of $224,307. Agenda item 255-22, award a contract to the Water Treatment Plant Residuals Disposal Project to Everett, Illinois, in the amount of $446,648.51. Agenda item 256-22, award a contract for the Curtis Avenue, Rayner Avenue, Wilcox Roadway Improvement Project to PT Farrell Construction in the amount of $450,191.69. Agenda item 257-22, amended award of contract in the Parkview Water Main Improvements Project to Brandt Excavating in the amount of $2,647,441.36. Agenda item 258-22, professional services agreement to the Public Utilities SCADA, which is a supervisory control and data acquisition system maintenance service contract to Wunderlich Malik in the amount of $40,000. Agenda item 259-22, professional services agreement for commercial water services GIS mapping project contract to Rudiger Tonelli Associates in the amount of $48,050. Agenda item 260-22, it's the purchase of a firefighter rescue replacement boat for Fire Station 1. Agenda item 261-22, purchase of the required materials to upfit 2 Ford Transient vans to prisoner transportation vans for the Joliet Police Department. Item 262-22, award a contract for chain link perimeter fencing and privacy slats for the JPD West Substation to Alliance Fence in the amount of $69,540. Item 263-22, standardization of fire turnout gear, which we had a discussion about last council meeting. Item 264-22, amendment to the professional services agreement for the alternative water source program to Stantec Consulting Services and, to modify the scope of services. Agenda item 265-22, change order number 6 for the 2020 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program to Performance Pipelining for a contract extension. Next, item agenda 268-22, a resolution approving the annexation agreement for 97.1 acres parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road. Agenda item 270-22, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an electronic message center that is larger than 50 square feet located at 1801 Jefferson Street. And this is for Tony's Fresh Market. They're going to put a big Fresh Market sign up there like they have at all their other locations right on Jefferson Street. Item 271-22, ordinance is approving an amendment to a special use permit to allow truck and trailer parking in an adjacent lot to trucking facility located in Lot 7 along Stone City Drive. Agenda item 272-22, ordinance approving a vacation of a 15-wide public utility and drainage easement located at 200 East Essington Road. Agenda item 273-22, ordinance associated with the southeast corner of Alessio Drive at Manhattan. This has been asked to be tabled by the petitioner. Item 274-22, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a food and fueling center located at the northwest corner of US Route 6 and Hollywood Road.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Lyman Team. I'm here for Len McHenry with Food and Fuel on 274-22.
We'll have citizen comments at the end of the meeting if you want to speak.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing on, item 275-22, ordinance approving special use permit for gas and fuel center located in the northeast corner of Caton Farm Road and Ridge Road. Agenda item 276-22, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow 78 square feet of off-premise outdoor advertising sign. And what this is a sign that is actually on a Park District piece of property. They'll be getting the revenue from it, but they need our permission to be able to do that because it's on, even though it's on their property, we have an ordinance that controls the sign there. So by doing this, we're being good to the Park District. It'll be used to advertise various Park District items as well as some advertising as well. Item 277-22, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a tire installation and sales facility located at 2404 Reeves Road. Item 278-22, ordinances associated with annexation of a 40-acre parcel located at 16911 West Laraway Road. And this is pursuant to an intergovernmental agreement between ourselves and Will County in exchange for us providing water and sewer hookup to their facility. They agreed that if we ever needed this property for annexation, they would allow us to do so, and we're exercising that right. Agenda item 279-22, ordinance and resolutions associated with annexation of a 97.1 acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road. This had initially expired, and now they've asked us to go ahead and redo that because they were not able to keep up with initially their end of the bargain. So they've come back and asked us to redo this. Ordinance item 280-22, ordinances associated with Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision. These are rather lengthy. I would suppose everybody would be able to read those. And so I will move on to agenda item 281-22, ordinance associated with the Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision. Again, for the same reasons, we will be moving on to the next item, which is agenda item 282-22, authorizing the purchase of radio batteries and replacement parts. You heard a briefing from Chief Blasky last council meeting talking about the need for new radios and these replacement batteries as well. So as we work through that process, we are going to need new batteries even before we're able to get the radios. Item 283-22, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Joliet and the County of Will for the annexation of 16911 West Laraway Road. That was the aforementioned property I was talking about. Item 284-22, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for a 2022 pavement marking contract. And with that, that concludes my comments subject to the council's question.
There was one more.
285.
Oh, did I miss 285?
5.
Jeez. All right.
We're paying attention.
Resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the Curtis Avenue, Rayner Avenue, Wilcox Street roadway improvement project in the amount of $233,879.18. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. And subject to your questions, that concludes my briefing.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Lyman Teeman. I'm the attorney for Len McHenry, who is the owner of the Food and Fuel, which is the subject of your case number 274-22. And this concerns the food and fuel that is being proposed for Hollywood Drive and Route 6 at the northwest corner of that intersection. We've been working with staff on this for a matter of a couple months, and we're very pleased with the cooperation that we've gotten from staff. And we're especially pleased with the recommendation that came from the zoning board concerning this location. We do have two items, though, in relation to this project that we would like to bring to your attention for consideration. And in terms of the ordinance that is being proposed, there are three conditions listed and attached to that ordinance. We're perfectly fine with number 2 and number 3, which deal with the forest preserve and the landscape plan. We've already presented the landscape plan to the city of Joliet, and we've been working with the Forest Preserve District, and we intend to put up the 4-foot wood-on-wood fence that's required by the Forest Preserve District around our west property line and north property line. With regard to condition number 1, I would just ask that you consider a clarification to that. This condition relates to the 3/4 access that we have proposed for Route 6. And we have submitted our plans to IDOT, and of course IDOT has jurisdiction over Route 6. We're hoping that they will give us the 3/4 access, but the history of IDOT is if they don't approve the 3/4 access, we expect that they would approve simply a right-in, right-out at that location. So rather than making this conditioned upon a letter of approval from IDOT for the 3/4 access, we would like to have this reflect that the approval would be subject to IDOT's approval for either the 3/4 access or for a right-in, right-out at the Route 6 location. And we would also like to add a fourth condition. If you look at our site plan, we have proposed on our site plan a right-in, right-out on Hollywood Drive at the north end of our property. That right-in, right-out, as proposed, would restrict truck access coming in off of Hollywood into our site, but would allow for cars to come in at that location. Trucks would exit as well as cars exiting on the right-out at that location, but the right-in would be restricted to automobiles only. And our concern is that if that right-in is not allowed, that the autos coming down Hollywood would probably just bypass our location, because the autos typically are not going to go as the trucks would in this case down Hollywood to the intersection, turn west, and then go into our subdivision or go into our development at that right-in, right-out or 3/4 access on Route 6. So we're asking for a condition that would allow for the right-in at Hollywood in conjunction with the right-out in accordance with the site plan that we've provided to the city. And with that, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to address them. Mr. McHenry is here on behalf of Food and Fuel, and also Brian Hertz is here, our civil engineer.
A question for staff, because I don't prefer not to negotiate at a city council meeting.
Right, we had this worked out. This is all news to me now, Mayor. The petitioner would like to withdraw so we can go back to the drawing board on this. I'll be more than happy to do that.
How about we talk after the meeting? Could you meet with our staff afterwards?
I'm sorry, what?
After the meeting, could you meet with our staff?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then also, I'm here in the same capacity in relation to the next matter that's on your agenda, 275-22. And this concerns the gas and wash at Caton Farm and Ridge. And I would just like to point out to you that we have done a number of things in relation to this site, hopefully to make it more compatible to the neighborhood. But we have commissioned a traffic study, and we have sent a copy of that traffic study over to the city. And we've also sent a copy of the traffic study to the Plainfield School District, and have been in contact with Lane April, superintendent of the Plainfield School District. In reviewing the traffic study that we proposed, our traffic engineer is recommending striping and a left turn heading eastbound on Caton Farm to make the entrance, the first entrance into our development. And the school superintendent is satisfied with that and believes that that will alleviate any possible problems with the conflict in the morning and mid-afternoon with school traffic. Also, I wanted to point out that there has been some concern about noise at the site, and we've submitted a revision to the city in relation to the essentially the only noise generator on our site, which is the car wash. And I want to point out that the exit to the car wash is 275 feet to the property line. It's 250 feet to a 70-foot berm that has an 8-foot fence on it that divides us from residential properties east of us. In addition to that, we have proposed now with the new submittal site plan to the city of Joliet, a masonry wall at the exit of the car wash that would buffer the sound even more for cars coming out of the car wash and the car wash equipment itself. So with that, if you have any questions, again, we'd be happy to address them, but with those revisions, we're seeking approval from the city for our special use permit request for this site. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
How tall is the berm gonna be to the, I guess it'd be the north side of your property?
The berm to the north side, I believe, is 5 foot tall. Is that correct, Brian? Correct. The berm is 5 foot tall on the north side of the property. It's 5 foot tall on the east side of the property also. The width of the berm on the east side is 70 feet. The width of the berm on the north side is, I believe, 54 or 55 feet. And the east berm has, on top of the 5-foot berm, has an 8-foot barricade fence that goes north and south along our property line and then skews in and turns to the west to buffer the neighbors to the east of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Len McHenry. I'm the owner of Food and Fuel and Gas and Wash. We currently operate 20 locations, 4 in Joliet. The rest of them are sprinkled in the southwest suburbs here. We have, concerns. We take the neighbors' concerns into consideration, and the engineers work on that. We're in a number of neighborhoods next to residential. We were presented as, the monster coming in, and it's just not like that. These places are quiet, they're clean, they're well-run. We take care of them, and we even have one of our neighbors here from one of the locations that could support us, and I think we do a nice job. And then over here at Caton Farm and Ridge, it looks like an underserviced area, especially when that housing fills in all around there. To me, there's not a gas station within 4 miles, which is us over at Theodore and Droughton. And it looks like a needed service in that area. And it's not a truck stop, it's for residential. I would think that Aldi's and Walgreens, which are next door, is all part of the same commercial piece of property, have more trucks than we do with their deliveries. There's not a lot of trucks. There's no trucks on Caton Farm, and there's very few on Ridge. They're all at the truck stops up on 80, and we're not a truck stop. So thank you for your time, and
Mayor, can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
Sir,
Of course, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'd like to ask you a question. I've seen you, I'm looking at your pictures, your renderings of your berm and everything with all these trees and everything that's been planted. You're gonna
Correct.
continue with those plantings?
yes, we are.
Okay. Have you had a meeting with the neighbors that live in that area and showed them your plans and showed them what you're going to do?
I was at one of the meetings, and I'm not sure if we had more than one meeting, but we did have a meeting at the, on Caton Farm, about a mile east of Ridge Road, in a school building there. And there was several neighbors at that meeting.
Okay, because I think people that live that butt right up to that, they might want to look at this and see what your plans are. And if you've done that in other places, maybe they could go look at that and make it a little more palatable for everyone. I don't know, I'm just trying to, work with you and the neighbors.
Thank you. We do have the berm and the fence, and that really shuts everything off.
Okay, thank you, just wanted to know.
Hi, I'm Kathy Boo. I have a gas and wash right beside my property in Homer Glen, and they have been really good neighbors. We have a berm. We hear no trucks, and it's a trucks, not a truck stop. It has diesel. And we hear no diesel trucks coming in and out. I hear more noise on the main roads than I do from the gas station. The lights do not bother me at all. I smell no gasoline at all. I've had no damage to my property from anything from there. The one time the garbage truck came and picked up the garbage on a windy day, and I ended up with garbage. I went in, I mentioned it to one of the managers. She sent a guy right out and picked it all up. So they have been really good neighbors. And I personally am very happy with the gas station that we have, and I'm joining it two sides. So I was really concerned about it, like the neighbors are here, but it has worked out really well. And if there were issues, they addressed them. So I hope you will be in favor of it, because it's really a nice station.
Good to know, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, I'm Ken Ninehouse with Northern Builders for Ordinance 279-22. I just wanted to make a couple of comments that we've been a good neighbor. Northern has been developing an adjacent business park over the last 15 years. We've built many square feet of industrial. We are a new purchaser for this property. We went under contract with it about 4 months ago, and we worked very well with staff for our presentation. We're actually doing very extensive road improvements, which is Spencer Road all the way from Cherry Hill to Gauger, and Cherry Hill Road for the complete 3 lanes that abuts the property for the entire distance of the property. And we look forward to continuing working with Joliet. That's all I have to say. Do you have any questions?
Questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any way I can get this loaded back up, please? Yeah, and I'll give this with you. Okay, Megan Cooper Joliet. Getting back to the Alessio Drive not actually being a drive and it actually being a railroad right-of-way. Back in 2019, the city of Joliet actually purchased the other part that's right over here on the other side of Manhattan Road. You can almost see it in the picture right here, to actually put a substation. So this has been a known fact that this right here is actually a railroad right-of-way. Not even Alessio Drive. Alessio Drive does not even exist. It was bothering me to the reason why they would use 400 Manhattan Road as their address to this cultivation facility, when the actual entrance or all of their concept plans is off of quote-unquote Alessio Drive. That's because Alessio Drive does not exist. And in order to apply for anything with the state, you actually have to have a legal address. That is the reason why they're using 400 Manhattan Road, which is all in their their concept plans as a parking lot and not even an entrance. So, this right here is actually a wetlands map. If you see it, this green area right here is actually a wetland. They actually have two buildings that are built inside of a wetland. You cannot do that. That is a big no-no. A wetland is to provide habitat for thousands of species of aquatic and aquatic plants and animals. That's what that's meant for. In order to do any type of work within a wetland, you also have to give up something. So all of this is actually within a wetland. I actually spoke with someone from the Army Corps of Engineers this past week, and as I was speaking to him, he says that he can see it on the old aerial maps where it appears to him that there has been more work done on this southeast side where these buildings are actually in, and he said that it might actually look like it was filled. So you guys might want to actually really take a look at this. This right here is not black dirt, that's oil saturated surface. Those right there are labeled coolant, but I'm pretty sure they probably have oil in it because truckers is full of truck. It's actually R2 zone in some areas, and they actually have truck parking there. Those trucks are out there all the time changing their own oil. This right here is oil buckets that are just sitting right there back there in the back. Also, oil saturated ground. Here goes another one. This one right here says power fluid. It's actually supposed to be for hydraulics. That's what the crushed up container actually does. So I'm wondering if they actually did some core samples here or actually scanning around, where are they going to find them to be some of all of this field? Because they got this piled up there. What's underneath the rest of it? There goes a close-up picture of the labels. This right here is a picture of some old machinery that was cut up on R2 zone property. You can see it has oil all over it. The creek is in close proximity of this, and also we've had rain lately. So what's going into the ground? What's going into that creek? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Jay Gregory. I'd like to comment on this. I sat down here more council, zoning meetings, planning meetings than I care to talk about. But maybe you could explain this to me. I was down here for a zoning meeting where the Alessios asked for their R2 to be rezoned to I1. And I thought that was a City of Joliet meeting. And I can't fathom that the council or the city manager didn't know what the zoning was on this if they had a meeting about it and it was voted down. So I really don't think the zoning stands as far as I can tell. So we should all know that it's R2, not I1. And it shouldn't be a question for Jim over there, and everybody should know that because I don't think you all attended the zoning meeting, but maybe you need to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Brandon Mosier. Actually, I think I've emailed each and every one of you today. As you heard, my wife spoke about her, all her concerns about, why this is not a good idea. I'm going to kind of add on to some of it. One of the things that I just really wanted to point out too is, as you may have not known, a lot of these manufacturers, car manufacturers, are actually all trying to go electric. So what's the point of putting in a gas and wash if no one's going to need a gas and wash? You're just not going to be putting up a building that's going to be obsolete in a matter of like 10 years. I think this is ridiculous. Not only that, but he's already got 20 buildings, 20 gas stations already. He's got enough money as it is. He's only going to be putting up another one, which is going to take money from one location and go into his pocket instead. It's not really going to bring in more revenue for this city. It's just going to be taken from one place to another. To me, this is stupid. The discussion of the berms and everything being only 5 feet tall, will not even go up near my fence. And we actually are on the east side of where this is gonna go. With the wind blowing from west to east, it's just gonna blow up all that dust, pollution, gas, you know, anything that's harmful to us. We'll just basically be lifted up off that berm as a ramp and into our backyard. We like to sit back there. We've got a nice big deck, a pool, and all we're gonna see now is just constant cars, constant traffic, noise at night, when we like to sit out there and just have a drink and chill and relax. We're not gonna have that. We're not gonna be able to look at the stars at night. I mean, light's gonna pollute our view every single night now. Our second level of our house, same thing. We're not gonna have our windows open. We're gonna have people possibly viewing into our backyard every second of every day. Would you guys, any of you guys, like to have that? I would bet not. So please think about that and vote against this.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Getting inundated with the Mosier household, but I did leave this up here, if I can give it to you, it is a petition. So we're not only speaking on behalf of ourselves, but also our neighbors who are not in favor of this as well. And I did want to speak to, I understand that it's not a truck stop, but if you didn't want trucks there, why are we making this a diesel gas station? And the reality is, and if you all have been to any gas station that allows trucks, they do sit, they do park, they do idle, and it is releasing gas fumes into our homes, into our yards, and affecting our families. And it literally means for us, and I had explained this to my children, they're like, Mommy, do we have to move? And I said, well, not yet, but it depends on how our government speaks for us, how they come to the table. But I'm gonna fight for you, and I'm gonna do what's right. And that's what I had to tell my own children. So I know that that's a hard discussion I have, but I'm not comfortable living next to a gas station, regardless of how many and how much and anything like that. It's strangers literally sitting in our backyard. And I want you all to think about your own children, if you have them, and how comfortable you would be in knowing that. It's a hard enough world to manage out there, but when it's sitting in your backyard, it is a whole nother level of concern. So thank you for your time and consideration.
You can hand it to the clerk.
I can.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Seeing none, there is no request for closed session, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.